Good morning. Can you hear me? Those who are participating online?
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can hear, sir.
Morning, sir.
Is it clear to you?
Yes, please.
If I am going to the back to the classroom, can you hear me?
Okay. No, sir. If you go rear side, it will your voice not properly here. So it is echo going around inside the class. That's the problem.
Thank you. Okay, so we are going to start the session. So good morning to all of you. And you may remember where we stopped last time. We talk about the elasticity. So the one application is the demand price elasticity, price theory, like that we talk about. So basically, we identified the limit of the elasticity last time. Now, with respect to changing the price of the product, right? So basically, that varies into aspects. So basically, elasticity, whether it is elastic or inelastic. Right? So that's very important. Identifying this nature of the elasticity for the product that we introduce. Right? Especially, we identified that the person wants to generate more revenue, right? Especially in pricing. We know that the price and the market determine the revenue product, right? The P and Q, right? So the revenue can be changed by changing the price, but the quantity, that is the demand. Q means the demand that we determine based on the market. Cost is a of the producer and of the. So for the producer can decide the price and the price in order to attract more demand. And therefore, it will be said. So in that sense, in that case, the price elasticity is very important based on the nature of the elasticity. So the producer can decide whether the increase price or decrease price that we discussed in the last time. And also, today we are going to talk about the nature. So why there are different elasticities? Sometimes we identify them. Now we identify different elasticities. Vary from 0 to infinity. Perfectly elastic demand, perfectly elastic demand. In between that, we identify the elasticity, the less sensitivity or high sensitivity, and sometimes in equal proportion with respect to changing the price. So that we identify that as the unitary elasticity. Right? So there are different elasticities. Why the elasticity is varying? We can think about why sometimes it becomes elastic, sometimes it becomes inelastic. Right? So sometimes the elasticity is more elastic, right? That means there is a strong relationship. Sometimes there is a less relationship. If there's a change in the price. So based on the market situation. So right, why there is such different elasticity. Now you can see, right? One factor is the what is it? Substitution, right? Similar products, competitors, available in the market. Because if there are competitive products in the market, right? We know that the consumers has more choice, right? Depending on the change in the price of the product. So they can select different products because market there are different products available, right? So all these products are equally or that means there's quality size, right? So they assume the quality is also important factor, right? So provide the same level of satisfaction, right? So therefore consumer can decide, right? He has more choices. So that means that if the price change for particular product, the consumer may change their demand for that product. So if there are other products available in the market, right? So that means depending on the number of substitutes available, if there are more substitutes available in the market, more sensitive, right? Sensitive means with respect to change in the price, demand change drastically, right? So that means become elastic, right? But in case of there are less substitute available in the market, there is no room to change the demand for the consumers with respect to changing the price of the product in the market, right? So he has already the one choice, so two choice gaining, right? So since there are no substitutes, so that means demand is said to be inelastic. Right? So the important factor, this is very important factor, right? Availability of substitutes. So if there's big competition in the market, that means the products available in the market are more elastic, right? So that's why in the market structures, when we talk about right? But in the market, perfectly competitive market, right? We cannot see the perfectly competitive market in practical, right? Realistic situation, but we see most closer market related to a estimate, right? On the not working. Only the machine is but no storage. That's also good, no? Okay, right? So today I think we talked about, right? Yeah, okay. So that is one factor, availability of substitutes, in the market. So you must remember that if there are more substitutes available, demand elastic. If there is less substitute available, demand income. I think less elastic, inelastic, right? In a competitive market, we know that the perfectly competitive market, since there are more substitutes, homogeneous products, right? So the product has elastic demands, right? And what is the other one? Income, right? How much you spend from your income, right? So you can think about it, right? So percentage that you spend from your budget or from your monthly income, right? So if you spend greater percentage of your income for a particular product, sorry, what happens? So you are highly dependent, right? Okay, let's say this electricity, right? Let's say people are struggling, right? There's electricity prices increase on rates and demand, right? People are not right? So that means there's a great significant impact, right, on their decisions, right? Because they allocate higher percentage, higher portion from their income, right, for such goods. If there are products available in the market, consumers allocate more portion from their income, right? Or significant amount of income from their budget, right? So in such products, whatever such cases, if the price increase of that product, consumer has a significant impact. So if there is significant impact, it can affect their decision. Right? So price increase, that means demand was significantly decreased, right? So that means you are more elastic, right? If you have it from your income, right? For the 60%, let's say, right? So compared with others, if you allocate significant amount from your income, right? So that means you have a case, right? So your pocket, right? The impact on the pocket you always think about, and based on that, decide, whether you buy or not, right? If there's to change the price, right? So that is the budget, right? If you allocate higher percentage, demand is elastic. Box of magnets, right? Now, how much? Whether are you serious about those things? Price thing? Paying for something, not right? Yeah. So price changes is that no impact, right? That means you are a small amount, right? So in such cases, demand is inelastic. Right? So that is the second case, right? And the time period. What is your opinion? Then there is time period. Now we know that time is affected to demand and also supply. Supply is more serious, right? If case of demand also, right? So time period is very important, right? Why? Why is that? The time period is a factor that goes to determine the elasticities for different products. Because of whether you have the information, right? With the time, right? The time span, right? You get more information about the market, right? Instantly, the price increase, right? But you don't know, right? Because that is called information asymmetry, right? Very short, instantly, right? But after some time, right, you get information about the market, right? So then you change your behaviors accordingly, right? With respect to changing the price. So in the short run, right, normally demand is elastic or inelastic. Very short run, and the price segment, you don't know sometimes, right? Whether the prices of the other products are really changed, right? So you continue, you are not going to change your behavior, right? Demand will not affect it, right? So that means in a very short run, even though the price change, right? Consumer will not react suddenly, right? Demand is inelastic. But when the time takes place, what happens? You get more information about the others, right? From your merchants, maybe, right? When you are going to the market, you will get information, right? So in that case, you will understand the products, other products available in the market, so their prices and how it is changed, right? So then that means you will change your behavior, right? So in the short run, normally price is inelastic, but in the time take place in the long run, demand elastic, right? So it's a very important factor. Now, for an example, you take normally when you talk about the price, right? Now the goods prices and if you take now the prices of the goods and that is determining which market we are identifying goods market, right? Product market, commodity market. Which we identify certain markets, right? What are the different markets we identify? Yeah, we talk about in our discussions. We talk about factor market, goods market, commodity market, foreign exchange market, right? Money market, capital market, right? Or if you go specifically one market, right? Actually, market like that, you can identify some markets equal. Coming to group or it's not right, money market, right? Now, if you take this goods market and the factor market prices, goods market means prices of the goods, no? Factor market price means the wage rate that determine, no? You take the labor market, no? Right? Oh, what you can see, do you think any difference is there? The reactions of this market? Now, which market is more sensitive? Goods market or factor market? Which market is more sensitive? So you see, other there are some of the study also here. Prices change significantly, right? Other people pricing enemy enter right? Experience, right? Today you buy something and you go to tomorrow, right? Same product, price change, right? So that means goods market is more sensitive compared with the factor market, right? Because that is the place where we buy and sell, right? To our requirement by spending our income, right? So when you go to the market, you buy, right? That means your income you spend such products in order to maximize your ability, right? So prices change in the goods market. That depends on the demand and supply process and other certain factors which are affected, like prices, maybe like crowd situation, so many factors affecting, right? Price change significantly, right? But when you go to the factor market, factor prices that depend on the demand and supply, that's true, right? But adjustments Can you see the adjustment now? We have to, if we are going to ask higher salaries, what kind of things we have to do? No? First, we have to start from the upward ladder, right? Then, first you do some bigger things, something, no, right? Demand, no, like, no results. Then what you go to the second step, third step, right? That thing. Finally, for the strikes, no, right? Upward ladder, first strikes or that, right? So like that, even though you strike, no answer, no, right? Sometimes with the change in the gown, with the promises, no, right? You will get some benefits, no, right? For your demands. Right? It takes so much of time, no, right? To adjust the factor prices, no, right? But in the goods market, we see more sensitivity, right? The short run even, no, right? The short run even today at tomorrow prices change, but when it comes to the factor market, we cannot see such a change, right? So that is the situation in the two market situation, right? Look at the price changes, right? In the factor markets and the goods market in the short run and the long, right? So, goods market price and the factor market price, right? So that's also very good implication is there, right? The theoretical things when we talk about, right, later on side, we take into account the sensitivity of six markets, no, right, to our analysis. Whether there is a flexible prices or dynamic prices, right? Because when the price in the goods market price change first, no, right? So that what is the implication of that? What is the implication? In the price of the goods change that affect the purchasing power, no? Right? We in economics point of view, we analyze, no, right? Real income, no, right? Money income does not change. Money income is there is the salary, no, right? But we get from the based on the labor market rates, no, right? That is the income, money income that you receive. No? So when you go to the market, prices are either fluctuating, increasing in the goods market, no, right? Your real income decrease. You get the monthly salary and you go to the market to see your real income decrease. No? So how we calculate real income? Nominal income is what you get, no, right? In nominal terms, no, right? Monetary terms. Real income is that is in real terms, no? Not the money. Money income is the monetary terms you express in rupees, no, right? That is what you get monthly, no, right? But the real income is not in monetary terms, quantity, no, right? In real terms, no, right? So money income, how we get the nominal real income? Money income divided by the prices, no, right? We normally use the price index, no, right? We can get the real income, no, right? Real income is the purchasing power of your money income, no, right? So the real income is the purchasing power of your money income, right? Now, that is the money income. Takes time. Why is that? Okay, money income and the real income. So money income means what you get and the real. It's like a tube light. I don't know why. It is so much. Why is it? Us now. That's it. So money and the real. So real income, how you take? Money income, that is the wage rate divided by the price index. No, right? WOP. No, right? So that is it. The purchasing power of your money income. No, right? So how much you can buy from the market, no, right? In real terms, number of goods, no, right? Right? In numbers, no, right? Quantity. So when the money income, that means when the price increase in the markets, no, right? Goods market, right? You observe that your money income does not change, it's remain constant, no, right? So when the price increase in the market, no, price index goes up, no, right? So that affects the real income to decrease, no, right? No, real income decrease. So then you realize that our money, our income is not sufficient. My salary is not sufficient, no, right? You are struggling, no, right? Because you always, as a consumer, you try to maximize your utility, no, right? So one side this scarcity, no, right? You have limited income, you also that observe the economy, no? That's why we try to allocate this our monthly income or limited income, no, in such a manner, right? To maximize your utility, no, right? Is another aspect, no, right? But here, since the prices are more sensitive in the goods market, price will always tend to increase, no, right? So that affects the real income, that means the labor market, no, right? People, right? So they are struggling, no, right? So then what they do? That's why they came into the ticketing and so much of trade union as, no, right? Asking high salaries. So that will take place after certain time, no, right? So as a result of that, later on, the real income. So the wage rate increase. Employers decide to increase the wages, no, because of the trade actions and these bargaining, no, right? So that depends on the trade union power and so on, something like this, no, and political or these things, no, right? So that's also talk about something about the time period and the adjustments in the market today, no? Market setting, right? Right. So that is the third one. The time period is very important factor, right? So that goes to the elasticity, right? What is the other one, right? Later of the commodity, no, right? So we identified the different types of goods, no, luxury goods, normal goods, immediate goods, no, right? We take the luxury, comfort goods, right? And the necessities, no, right? Normal goods, we take essential goods, no, right? So luxury goods normally what happen when the prices that actually depends on their people, their income, no, right? When the income increase, demand for the luxury goods will increase, no, right? But with respect to this comfort or the luxury goods, no, right? Normally, we know that even though with the price increase, no, right? We are not looking at it, we are not comparing the income level and the demand for luxury, right? Here we look at the price and the demand for luxury, right? Right? Okay, two different, right? If you talk about the luxury good, eventually we go to the income. Puts people consume at high level of income. We are not looking at that way, right? Now we are talking about the price and the demand for such goods, no, right? So when the price increase, normally even in the luxury goods side, so we know that demand for such goods decrease, not right, or increase. Yes. So that is the exceptional case we identified, right? Luxury goods, no, price increase, demand also increase, right? So that goods. So because consume these other painting, this something, no, right? Luxury and the development goods people consume at higher level of income, right? So elasticity is normally greater than 1, right? So, right? So price increase, people demand more sometimes, no, right? Right? Because they want to show something, no, right? prestigious, right? No, like comfort, no, and something status. But in case of necessities, whatever. So until certain point, right? When even though the price increase, people need to consume, right? They demand, right? But after a certain time, right? So once they acquire their quantities, even though the price change, right? They are not demand, no increase or decrease, right? Even though the price decrease, they are not demanding, right? Right? But also, once we acquire the particular and right? So on the other side, you cannot keep it for a long time, right? No, it's not right. It's not right. So demand is inelastic, right? So the nature of the commodity also affected. Right? There is structure for the necessary goods, right? Luxury goods normally elasticity is elastic, but essential goods demand is right? And the durability, so that's also factor. Okay? We have the products, goods which can be for a long time, right? So this equipment, right? So that means it is durable, right? So when the price increase, demand decrease, right? So that means there will be significant impact on the demand, right? Demand is elastic, right? But in case of non-durable products, right? Perishable goods, no, right? You cannot store those products, no, right? For a long time. Okay. So that means demand is inelastic, right? Okay. Right. So that's also another factor, right? So we identified certain factors that determine the price elasticity. Okay. So the important thing is the substitutes available in market and the income, how much the income spend you are, certain products, and right? The time period and the durability, right? And the nature of the product. Okay. Okay. Are there any other factors you can think about? What are other factors? Yes. Major factors. Any others? So one thing you can, let's say, how you define the product, no, right? How you define the product in a broader term or in specific form, right? If you, let's say now if you take the soft drinks, right? Soft drinks, right? So you can, you need something from right? Right? So soft drinks, right? So there are, if you say the broader version of soft drinks, right? So that means all the soft drinks are included, right? Then, either different house products, right? The beverages products, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and now, so many items are there. You define the product in a broader term, soft drinks, right? If you say the soft drinks, there are no substitutes available in the market for the soft drinks, right? Then, hard drinks, but it is not a soft drinks, right? Right. So that means demand is inelastic, right? So if you define the product in a broader term, since there are no substitutes available in the market, right? So demand is inelastic. So if you take the particular soft drink, Coca-Cola, so there are so many substitutes, right? Pepsi Cola, right? Right? Stripes, so many, not like that, right? So many substitutes. So that means demand is elastic, no? Yes. So in that case also we can identify the definition, right? So depending on the how we define the product, right? We can analyze the elasticities, that's it, right? Okay, right. So you can think about other factors, right? So that affects the price elasticity. Okay. So that's about the price elasticity of demand. Now we talk about the elasticities. We identify three forms, no, right? One is the price elasticity, income elasticity, and the cost elasticity. Now we can move to the second one, cost elasticity. What does it mean? Yes. Cost means what we are going to identify. Cost elasticity. So that means we may remember in the demand function, we identify the factors that determine demand, right? Second factor is the price of the other goods, right? With respect to changing the price of the other goods, how the demand is going to be changed, right? Other goods means complementary and the substitutes. Under the cost elasticity, we look at the complementary goods and the substitutes, right? The price changes and what kind of impact is there. Now, therefore, we take the price of the product of the one item and the demand level that we consider, right? So that is the responsiveness of demand for the product X, right? Responsiveness of the demand for the product X, change in the demand for the product X due to change in the price of Y, right? X and Y are the two products that we consider, right? What we consider is the X, right? With respect to change in the price of Y. Price of this product Y is either complementary or the substitutes, right? So how we calculate percentage change in demand for the product X divided by the percentage change in the price of good Y, right? Right. So if you write it in other way, how you write it? Now, if you have given the percentage, you can easily calculate, right? With the change in the price of the product, Y demand is changed this much, you can directly calculate the cost elasticity, right? But if you don't have such things, right, if you like at the changes in the prices and given changes in the demand like that way. So you need to identify the specific form, right? So right, that is basically the equation is this, right? We take the change in the quantity of X divided by the change in the price of Y, right? So that means with respect to change in the product Y, so we are going to look at the sensitivity of change in the demand for the product X. X and Y are the related goods, right? Either substitute or the complement. So once you calculate the cost elasticity, the coefficient that you observe, right, can be either positive or negative, since there are substitutes and so on. In the earlier case, the price elasticity of demand, we observe that it's always negative, right? Therefore, we can ignore it, right? No need to worry about the sign, right? But here, we need to worry about the sign of the coefficient. Depending on that, you can identify which type of good is, right? Whether it's a substitutes or the complement, right? So once you calculate the cost elasticity, if it is the cost elasticity coefficient, if it is positive, value something, right? So that means, what does it mean? Positive relationship, So there is a X and Y is the positive relationship. When the price of Y increase, demand for the product X also increase. Why? Because those two goods are substitutes, right? Similar products, right? Homogeneous product, right? Because when the Y prices increase, right? Demand for the product X also increase. That's why it's positive, right? The value is negative, right? When the Y price increase, demand for the product X decrease. So that means you get the negative sign, right? Positive means the substitutes, two goods are substitute. If it is negative, those two goods are complement, right? Now, for an example, we know that when the price of Now, Fanta prices increase, demand for the Coca-Cola increase, no, right? People demand Coca-Cola, not the Fanta, no, right? See, two goods are substituted, no, right? So therefore, you get a positive, no, right? Right. So by looking at this cross price elasticity, you can identify the nature of the product, no, right? Whether it's substitutes or the. So once you calculate the cross price elasticity, if it is, let's say, positive, very high, depending on the value, right? High value, high positive value. So that denotes there are no mean substitutes available. So that means substitute means we can assess the competitive level of the market, no, right? Whether there is high competition or less competition, no, right? By looking at this cost elasticity. Right. Now, what is the other equation? Cost elasticity, let's say EXY, no, right? So that means delta QX divided by delta PY, no, right? To PY over QX, no, right? Right? Okay. So delta QX over delta PY, PIO, QX, no, right? So that is the cost elasticity, you know, percentage change in demand for the product X due to percentage change in demand for the product Y. How the demand for the product is respond will change the price of the product Y. Right? Two goods detail X and Y. Right? So it can be positive or negative, right? EXY can be positive or negative, no? So that sign is very important. It becomes positive for the substitutes, two goods are substitute. If it is negative, that means two goods are okay. So you can think about hypothetical example, right? So you take the QX, change in the price delta QX, price of Y, no, right? And the demand for the product X, right? When the price is 10, demand for the product is 100, right? When the price is 15, demand for the product is 80, no, right? So you can calculate the cross price elasticity, no, right? So since you have given these price changes and the quantity changes, you can take this example. If you have given the percentage changes, percentage form, right? Demand and prices, you can take a simple price, right? So you can calculate this one based on to right? This change in the quantity means this, no, right? That is 20, no? So you need to assume whether price increase or decrease, right? So that is first assumption, right? So this is 20, right? The price change is 5, right? Right. And the quantity change is 20, right? So if we assume price increase from 10 to 15, right? So the delta QX means 20 divided by price change is minus 5, no, right? Earlier the price is 10, quantity is 100, no, right? So if you simplify this one, you can identify the negative, no, right? Something, no, right? Because price increase, demand decrease, no, right? So there's a negative relationship, no, right? So that means this negative relationship means you can calculate the coefficient, right? So those two goods are complementary goods, no, right? Two goods are complementary, okay? So there is a cross elasticity, right? So you can calculate that, okay? Okay, right? So the cross elasticity, so you can see the screen, no? Okay, right? So what are the practical usefulness? So once you calculate cross elasticity, you can identify the nature of the product, no? Right? It is substitutes of the components, right? Now, one thing is, you can see cross price elasticity, why it is important, right? Some they are producing product line, right? Multiple products, right? Sometimes the products are complementary, sometimes those products are maybe the that means that will provide information about the pricing decision, right? So if they are given products, right, producing firm, right, particular firm, or even other rival firms, right? Let's take few their products, so those are the similar products, maybe, right? With this change in the rival firms' prices, right? So we can think about how we can adjust our price, right? It's not the cost price elasticity. So the pricing decision, right? So that can be used for the cost pricing elasticities, right? So in that, even though by looking at the products line in the particular firms, right? Or when you analyzing the variable firms prices, right? So the product prices, so, right? And as I mentioned, you can measure the degree of competition, right? By looking at the value, right, of the first price elasticity, right? So normally if it is positive means you know that there are some substitutes available in the market, right? So you get the cost price with a high value, right? So that indicates high competition in the market, right? And the next one to understand the substitutes and the complementaries, right? So you know that, right? And the government policies. So how it is useful for the government policies? Cost price analysis. Yes. Policies. Oh, you know that when you the government policies basically tax policy we take, right? So the government impose taxes, right? How if the government impose taxes on the petroleum, right? Petroleum, right? Crude oil, right? So after the taxes, they will the price increase, right? So that will affect the demand for the car, right? Then demand for cars increase, right? Even though one side government increase taxes on the petroleum, so yesterday, right? Other side that will affect the demand for the cars, and there may be the tax collection from such goods maybe decrease if there is a lower demand for the cars, right? That affect the imports, right? And so on, right? It's working. You can try. It's installed, I think it's There may be technical problems.
Sir, can you check whether the remote is in the desk?
Yeah.
In the desk?
The remote,
Yeah. Yes, sir.
that is not available yet. One remote will be there. This is for this.
Are there any dropouts?
One day, blow a couple and just say solution. Is it okay now? No, we are in. Pull that again, very good. Okay, right? So the government policy means, right? Basically, the government needs to take the tax policy to raise the revenue. So if the government impose taxes on petroleum, maybe the petroleum price increase that will have. There's demand for the petroleum, now one side, right? In the petroleum price increase, and we know that cars are the complement, right? That will affect the demand. Such policies take into account, right? So we can consider the cost price elasticity side, so how this affect our products, demand and so on. Put it in that side. So that is the practical use. Okay, you can think about this the cost price elasticity one kind of thing. So, yes, right. So we are moving to the income elasticity, right? So that is with respect to change in the income, right? How the demand is response, right? Responsiveness of demand due to change in the income, while other factors remaining constant. That's also very important. We define the elasticity, cost elasticity, income elasticity, price elasticity. We will take one factor, no? We need to assume other factors. Because that assumption is there, right? Here we take the variable factor as the income, right? We assume other factors that cause the demand is constant, no? Right? We are going to measure the impact on the demand due to change in the income, right? So under this sense, right? So how we calculate that one? We take the percentage change in demand divided by the percentage change in income. Y means the income, right? Here we take Y, that is the income, right? To be not income, right? Percentage change in demand divided by the percentage change in income, right? Now, normally, now, if we explain that one in a second equation, how we can explain? Percentage change in demand, that means delta Q over Q. Percentage change in income means delta Y over Y, right? You can rearrange that one. You can identify the other form, right? Delta Qx over delta Y divided by Y over Q, right? So EY, income elasticity, right? So that means percentage change in demand, we take delta Q over Q, right? Percentage change in income, we take delta Y over Y, right? So that means we can rewrite delta to take the product X, Qx divided by delta Y. Y is the income, right? So Y is the income. Into Y over, right? So delta Qx over delta Y divided by product X, right? That means due to change in the now change in demand for the product X due to change in the income, right? So once you calculate the income elasticity EY, it can be positive or negative, no, right? It can be positive or negative, greater than 0 or less than 0, no, right? Right? Positive means what? For the normal goods, no, right? For the normal goods. No? Negative means for the inferior goods. For the normal goods means for luxury also there, you can take it, no, right? So if it is in between 0 and 1, normally, you know, right? It's a essential, no, right? Staple goods, no, right? If it is greater than 1, can take luxury goods, no, right? If it is negative in inferior goods, right? Normally, you can see the positive for the normal goods and the negative for the inferior goods, right? So, if in the previous case, right, the cost price elasticity, right, we take only the related goods, right? X and Y are related, right? Demand for the product X, we change in the product Y. In the previous case, cost elasticity. So those goods are always we take the related goods. Related would mean either assume complementary and the sub. But unrelated goods can be if you relate to unrelated goods. That means unrelated one, whatever. There's no relationship. Start here. There is no changes cannot be unrelated. If the product price and the demand for the product who are related. So there can be no need to relate those two goods, but calculate the cost elasticity for the unrelated goods, right? Normally it's positive and negative for the substitutes and the complementaries, right? Unrelated goods become zero, right? Right. Okay, right. So this is the income elasticity, right? It's positive or negative, right? Okay. Okay, right now this is the case, right? If it is negative, less than 0, that means negative, no, right? For the inferior goods. Positive means the normal goods, right? It is greater than 1 luxury in between 0 and 1 essential goods, right? So we can identify the nature of the product, right? By looking at the income elasticities, right? Just change the income and the demand, right? Right. So what is the significance? One is it's useful to detect the nature of the group, right? So, right? Positive means normal, negative means inferior, right? And the second one, you can understand now the business is useful for the business, right? When they are taking decision, right? Business decisions, right? Strategies. How it is useful. Income elasticity, income increasing in a period, right? And the economy, right? It's a good period. Yeah, it has expanded, right? Now after the crisis, now some kind of improvement we see, right? Arrivals and now it's a phase of time. With those who have great income, right? And expanding the right? The income, they get some sort of income, right? Some level was increasing, right? Good period. So in a good period, there is the income level increasing, right? So what happened? Quantity demand also changed, right? Demand also increased. This could be the thing. So if the income level increase, we can expect an increase in the demand for the product. As according the firms can decide, they can plan the production, right? Now you know that now police arrivals are increasing from time. People are planning to be providing services for them. Side, right? This industry is hotels and restaurants or others. So with the industry, like that, plans. And also marketing, right? Marketing, right? So they can plan. The income level increase, right? Consumers income, we know that there will be the demand for the product that we market increase, right? High potentiality, right? So we can plan our production. We can expand the business and the marketing and sense. So that means the business strategy, right? We can take some strategic decisions, right? Production, right? And forecasting, right? That also useful, right? Right. When the income level increase, you can forecast what sort of income demand is there for a product. If it is a normal goods, you know that demand increase, right? So that way we can forecast the demand, right? So income elasticity, right? That's the change in the income, demand increase, and we can forecast the future demand as the pricing strategies, right? How will you use for the price? We get income increase, there's like demand also increase, and in people that market price tend to increase, right? So somebody can decide what kind of pricing. This is the income level increase, they are high purchasing power, right? They are high purchasing power, right? Therefore, and increase the prices as that can be used for pricing strategies. And the segmentation market, we identify the market and market segmentations, right? And how we are positioning our products, right? Are you studying market? These, you can relate. Economics is related with all other disciplines. Explain it, you can. That's how you study different subjects in your degree, right? Either you need to synthesize, subjects they to get, right? Overrating all these knowledge, right? That thing, right? Like it's a kind of no, all these things. All the ability, right? Can develop the relationship, right? And sense. We can use it, create situations. Let's synthesize, right? Whether your exam, right? You think of when you're like come to the final year, right? They were into your right. Compiling all things, right? So the segmentation, market segmentation, right? So if we are the income level increase, we know that, right? Company can decide how we can position our product. High income people, like premium products, there are like premium products. They can say high income people, right? Because when the income level increase, we know that demand for the luxuries has gone up. Right? If there is a recession, if the income level increase, what happens? People are moving from normal goods to the maybe the inferior goods, right? There are still low quality goods, right? Prices here we have a no option, right? Okay. We cannot get a power right? Right. If the income level increase, you can go to beyond that level, right? So that means market segmentation, right? Company can really position their product, right? Yes, and people we can position premium products, right? Going up into other products, right? Affordable products, right? They can company can decide their marketing segmentation strategy as well, right? So they can those information can be usefully incorporated in market segmentation, right? So those are some of the things you can think about, like other aspects that we can use our customers, right? Right. Is it clear? Images. So you can look at the hypothetical example and you can calculate like some elasticities, right? With this income, right? Give this, right? See the coefficient, right? Whether it's zero, less than zero, or zero, right? So then by that, depending on that, you can identify the product based on the product, right? Now we last day we talked about these things, right? Common interventions, right? May remember, right? We talked about this, right? And taxation we talk about, right? Now we talk about the import taxes, right? In the last one we talked about, right? Fact of this imports, right? We talked about that, right? So we identified these effects, no, right? With respect to the taxation, no, import tax, we discuss about the consumption effect, production effect, all these, right? So this one also we talk about, right? In the form, right? So how we identify those effects, right? So you can calculate those things, right? The tax revenue, right? If you put it into the numerical form, right? These areas, right? You can calculate, right? And another thing is now when you talk about these taxes, right? So, so normally if there is a tax, what happens? It affects the demand or supply. Okay. There is a tax, so you have to pay taxes, right? Maybe tax, some tax, right? That affects the supply. Supply shift to the left, right? Because producers are not willing to supply same quantity after the tax, right? Because they have to pay tax, right? So therefore they adjust the price accordingly, right? To take the after the tax the price, there are supply rates, right? So that means supply first shift to the left, right? Accordingly, if in the demand supply equilibrium diagram, right? So we see equilibrium change, right? So there will be an increase in the price, decrease in the quantity, right? And whatever, when there is tax, we have to think about even though the after the tax, right? The supplier has to pay, but he we see increase the market price, right? Then that will transfer to the consumer as well, right? That is the burden, tax burden, right? So we call it as tax incidence, right? So how the tax burden is shared between the consumer and the producer, right? Even though the producer pays the tax, right? We directly charge from the consumer as well by raising the price. If there is a price increase, that has to pay by the consumer, right? But there is a portion direct to the producer as well, right? So when there is a tax, so that is very important. We need to think about how much of percentage the consumer pays, how much of percentage the producer pays. That is the tax burden, right? Sharing the tax burden between the producer and the consumer, right? So, and we know that there is a definitely there is a welfare loss also there, no, right? Okay. Right, right. So, incidence of tax, right? So that tax will share between the producer and the consumer, right? Buyer and the seller, right? So the between the buyer and seller depends on the elasticity, right? So how much is paid by the consumer, how much is paid by the producer, depends on the elasticity. Price elasticity of demand and supply, right? So now it actually we can talk about a little bit, right? Giving to you, right? Now, if there is now, this is the case, right? Now, this is the one I am talking about, right? So the demand supply, right? So this is the price for the particular product, you know that, right? So after the tax, what happened? Supply curve shift to the left, no, right? This is S plus D, no, right? After the tax, right? So what happened? Price increase. So this is the new price P1, Q1, no, right? So normally after the tax, price increase, no, right? Market price increase, no, right? Now how the tax burden is shared between the consumer and the producer, right? We need to take the new quantity, no, right? And if you track the supply curve, right? So this is the now this portion is paid by the producer, right? This portion paid by the consumer, no, right? Per unit tax, no, right? If there is a 1 rupee tax, right? Now here we see the equally distributed, no, right? Between the consumer and the producer, no, right? No, equally distributed, no, right? So that is the tax burden, no, right? So this is the tax burden. Whole area is the tax revenue for the government, no, right? Part of the burden shared by the consumer and the other part shared by the producer, right? Now here you see look at the diagram equally distributed, no, right? If there is a 1 rupee tax, 50 cents paid by the consumer, 50 cents paid by the producer, no, right? So likewise, per unit, no? So the per unit tax and total tax revenue you can multiply by amount, no, Q, right? So 1 into, let's say, 100, the total tax revenue is 100, likewise, no, right? Now this depends, tax burden, this how much percentage shared by the consumer and the producer depends on the elasticity. So the slope of these curves, right? So we know that there is a perfect elastic demand, steeper demand, flatter demand. So in that case, this elasticity is varied, right? You can draw the curves and see, right, how it is varied, right? I'm not going to do those things, right? Now here you can see. So we can do the summary, right? So if there is a perfect elastic demand, right? So who pays the entire tax? Entire tax paid by the buyer. We can draw the curve and see, right? Perfectly elastic demand, right? Perfectly inelastic demand, right? And on the normal supply curve, right? And see how the tax burden change, right? And if there's inelastic demand, buyer pays more. And the special case is the unitary elastic, you know that rectangle hyperbola curve, right? So in that case, equally distributed, right? Tax burden equally distributed between the if there's elastic demand, seller pays more, right? If there's a perfect elastic demand, seller pays entire. So that is the case based on the price elasticity of demand, you can see, right? So how the tax burden is shared between the consumer and the producer. Okay. So and in the case of supply, right? If there is a perfect elastic supply, seller pays entire. Inelastic supply case, seller pays more than the buyer. Unitary elastic case, like earlier, equally distributed, right? And the elastic supply, the buyer pays more. I mean, elastic supply is likewise. Can identify this tax burden share between the consumer and the producer, depending on the price elasticity of demand and price elasticity. Can check this one, right, by calling the terms, okay? Right. So that's all, right? So other things we discussed, right? Okay, any question? Right. So we are going to move into the other one, right? Okay, right. Now we are moving to the next topic, right? We are going to talk about the consumer behavior. Now we identified the demand and the supply, right? So how the consumers and the producers behave in the market, right? Now we are going to be identifying the nature of the demand curve, right? And the nature of the supply curve, right? So we derive the demand curve, downward sloping demand curve, right? With respect to change in the price, right? And upward supply curve, right? With respect to change in the price of your own product, like that, right? And why there is a downward sloping demand curve, right? Why there is a negative relationship between the price and the quantity demand, right? So that we are going to talk about the theory behind the situation. here behind the demand curve, here behind the supply curve, right? So here behind the demand curve is we analyze based on the consumer behavior. Here behind the producers, that is here behind the supply curve, we are going to analyze based on the theory of work, right? So here, in order to explain the theoretical explanation behind the demand and the supply, behind the consumer's behavior, so behind the consumer, the demand curve, and the producer supply curve, we are going to look at the utility theory, right? And the difference curve analysis. So that is coming under the theory of consumer behavior. Right? So that explains why there is a downward sloping demand, why there is a negative relationship between the price and the consumption. Right? And the producers aspect we are looking at by analyzing the theory of the product. Yeah, actually we are going to talk about this cost revenue production theory and the profit theory. So that explains the producers, right? So now for the time being, we are going to look at the producers, right? Sorry, consumers, right? That's a downward sloping demand, right? Okay. So what is behind the consumer's demand, right? Why the demand curve is downward sloping, right? So how the consumers choose from among various goods, right? We know that we identified now the demand curve, we look at only one product. Some product we take advance, right? We are not worrying about the other products. So but the other side we are trying to explain the consumer behavior, how to consumer maximize utility. The practical situation is not consume one product. In order to maximize the utility, we consume one lot. The product they are making, yes, to consume different products. Therefore, demand curve is only we can take as one limitation. So, right, we have to take one product. Right? But when we explain the consumer behavior, we have to think about how the consumer maximize utility by consuming different products. Therefore, we have to take either two goods or bundle of goods to explain this. So here they are going to look at the consumer choose among the different various consumer goods, right? In order to go to the maximum level of satisfaction, right? So how we choose the products? We know that one thing is one side we have the limited income. If we are choosing products, we can do right. But in order to consume the products, we need to spend and consume. Right? So they are the constraint in the income. Right? So that's why we are talking about economics, right? How we utilize this limited income. Right? As we mentioned in the very first slide, microeconomics, economics, much worry about the resource allocation. As economics, we always talk about optimum allocation of resources. In order to explain this optimum allocation, right? Okay. There is this other whiteboard. Whiteboard. Really bad. That scheme is vanished, no? Right? Again, the right. Right now, you may remember that economics, right? It's too late. Okay, right? Resource allocation, right? Like a small child, right? Right. So now here we look at the two aspects, no? Right? One is the consumer. Other one is the producer, no? Right? Okay. So the consumer, now we are going to look at now, that is the theory behind the demand curve, no? Right? So we are going to look at the consumer behavior, why there is the negative relationship between the price and the quantity demand, no? Right? When the price increase, why there is a demand, no? Right? Consumer, no? Right? Because consumer always trying to maximize the utility, no? Right? Max utility, no? Right? Producer always try to maximize the profits, max profit. Why? Right? Why is the profit? No? Right? So the now he has to consume goods, no? Right? In order to maximize the utility, no? Right? In the demand analysis, we look at only one good, right? And with respect to change in the price, how we demand it, right? By analyzing that one, we cannot talk about utility maximization, right? The satisfaction, right? So here we are going to look at basically two, right? That is the utility theory. And the indifference curve analysis, right? There's another one also, reveal preference theory. Reveal preference theory. Reveal preference theory. We can refer that. We are not going to look at that one. That is the extended analysis of this indifference curve, right? Reveal the VT. Reveal preference. Here. RPT. Reveal preference theory. Okay. In signal, we are calling it as helical Varana. So that is the extended analysis of this X, overriding the limitations of this indifference curve analysis, right? So in the textbooks, you can see, right? We are not going to look at that one, right? We only look at the utility theory and the indifference, right? So that explains the consumer behavior, right? In utility theory case, in the initial utility theory, we know that we take only one good, right? No, they are also right. If you allow to consume a particular product continuously, no, right? We check the utility, no, right? We say I will be given to you one orange juice, right? Glass of orange. We consume and second class, third class, like that, right? So what is the utility? How we can, what happened to utility? For utility, right? So there is another concept, the marginal utility, no, right? Extra satisfaction. So if you change the consumption, drinking one glass to second glass, what is the extra satisfaction that you gain by consuming one more glass? That explain the marginal, right? Under that, right? So this is based on the marginal utility theory, right? So when the indifference curve analysis, we take two goods, right? And we compare the utilities, right? So they actually compare the level of utility, right? So here the both cases, we know that our constraint is the income, right? Income is the constraint, because we are going to allocate the resources, right? Income is our resource, right? Trying to maximize the utility. So economics, we talk about the resource allocation. That's why we say basically it is pay attention on the resource allocation, or we call it as optimum allocation of resources. How the resources are allocated in optimum manner to maximize the utilities consumers' point of view, to maximize the profit producers' point of view, right? Here they have to, here we talk about the theory of the firm, right? Because we have to think about the cost side and the revenue, right? Cost also there, right? And some constraints also there, right? So when the producer try to maximize utility, he has to think about the market constraint, right? Market is the constraint, right? Capacity is mainly, right? And the technology, legal constraints. So much of constraints are there. In all aspects, right? When we explain the resource allocation, it's subject to the constraint, right? We have the limitation, right? So by overriding or managing those limitations, right, we are going to achieve our individual objectives. As the consumer, try to achieve the utility, right? And the producer try to achieve the profit, by managing those. That's why we say it's a constraint optimization, right? So, right? In resource allocation. So one side we need to think about how we are going to allocate resources subject to the constraint, right? So now here we are here, right? We are going to talk about this consumer behavior. Basically, we take two theories here: utility theory and indifference curve analysis, right? So that is this, right? End of this session. Okay, thank you. Okay, right. So that's why we talk about here, right? Choosing the product, right? That actually has to choose the product, right? Subject to the constraint, right? So you can study more on this, right? Even in the next, the latter part, even in the next day, right? When you talk about the business economics, right? To talk about these constraints, right? And how the consumers and the producers behave, right? And the value for the consumer good, right? So what determines the value, right? By consuming, right? And how the consumer spend his income, limited income, right? Here also we talk about it, right? Consumers pay when he tries to maximize the utility, right? How we allocate is limited, right? Between the two products, right? Right? So we talk about that, right? Right. Now we have when you explain the consumer theory, right? So we have the two concepts. One is the cardinal utility and the other one is the ordinal utility. You know what is the difference? Cardinal and the ordinal utility. So I studied cardinal utility. Now the utility theory is based on the cardinal concept, right? Cardinal utility. Because utility theory assumes utility can be measured. That is the mental satisfaction of what we gain by consuming goods, right? The utility is the satisfaction that you gain by consuming the product, right? The satisfaction, right? Can we measure that satisfaction? Here we assume the cardinal concept, we assume utility can be measured. Right? Hypothetically, we use UTIA, right? We measure utility based on the utility, right? That is the units, right? Here we assume the utility can be measured, right? So when the consumer consumes goods, right? We say the total satisfaction increase, right? Satisfaction that you get by consuming products, so always increasing, right? So that the total utility increase. So we can think about the marginal utility as well, right? Based on that, right? But when it comes to the other concept, ordinal utility means we are actually think about they are actually utility measurability of the utility is not considered, right? Instead of that, we rank the utilities because we are not believing the utility measurability, right? But we explain the utility based on by ranking, right? So lower level, upper level, middle level, right? That's the satisfaction that you get, whether you get lower level satisfaction, upper level satisfaction, that way, right? We are going to explain the level of satisfaction instead of measuring, right? So the indifference curve explained that is based on the ordinal utility curve, right? So instead of measuring, we actually rank the utility. Right? They are actually, if you are going to higher level of satisfaction, the higher level of indifference curve explain higher level of satisfaction. Lower level of indifference curve explain lower level satisfaction. Exactly, right? So those actually the two concepts we can consider, right? So cardinal concept and the ordinal concept. Simply the cardinal concept is assumed by the end. Measure. Ordinal concept explain instead of measuring utility, right? It tries to rank the utilities, right? Right? Okay, right? So utility theory. So utility, that is the satisfaction, no, right? That you gain by consuming products, no, right? Satisfaction, mentally satisfaction. So that consume goods to service, no, create the satisfaction. That is right? So happiness, no, right? So that is actually based. This is the oldest theory, right? Since this is based on the cardinal concept, right? So here, now when you consume a particular product, right? What happens? Total utility. It's always increase. We have two concepts here: total utility and the marginal cost. So when you consume the products continuously, right? The satisfaction that you gain, when you are moving first unit, second unit, third unit, and like you always increase, right? Total utility increase, right? So, but we have to think about not the total utility, marginal utility. That is very important, right? Marginal utility means what is that? So that is the extra satisfaction that you gain by consuming one more unit. We are moving first unit to second unit to calculate the extra satisfaction that you get, not the total unit. Right? That is the marginal. Right? What happened is marginal utility when you are considering particular product continuously, right? The extra satisfaction that you get by consuming product always decreases. Right? That's why we say diminishing marginal. So that is the principle applying here, right? So when you consume particular product continuously at a particular time, right? The extra satisfaction that you gain by consuming extra unit always diminishes. Right? So decline. Right? So you get total utility is increased, but there actually we identify total utility increase at a decreasing rate. When you consume particular product continuously, right? Total utility increase at a decreasing rate. That's why the marginal utility continuously decreases. Right? So that is based on the marginal utility concept, right? So now actually this is the one oldest theory, right? So that talk about this total and the marginal utility. Based on we are going to talk about the behavior of the consumer, right? So that is the traditional approach, right? And there are some limitations as well because this utility theory is based on some assumption, right? You take only one product, no, right? Consumer is now what are the assumptions? Anything? Anything? Consumer we take particular time, right? We allow the consumer to product same product continuously, right? Take the one product, right? And is given the opportunity to consume equal number, right? Then he must be in a normal condition, right? If you give the drunkard person or something, mentally disordered person, that kind of assist. This way, right? And a particular time, continuous, right? Continuously, right? We give it consume. Right? There are some limitations, right? So there are those assumptions, right? That's why people say, well, criticize this right? Concept, right? And instead of that, they introduce this indifference theorem, right? Okay, right? So utility, that is the benefit, satisfaction consumer obtained by goods and service, right? Consumer and service, right? So that is the marginal utility is the satisfaction that we gain by consuming additional unit, right? So that there we see the marginal utility diminishing, marginal utility concept, right? Because extra satisfaction, right? So case, right? So so total utility increase, but the marginal utility is decrease. Okay. But actually the total utility is increasing at a decreasing rate. Right? Speed of increasing the total utility always decreases. That's why the marginal utility is decreasing. Right? Okay, right? So so we talk about this, and if you look at this one, utility, right? Now this is the total utility and the marginal utility, right? So at a particular time, we are allowing particular person to consume continuous, right? 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 units. What happened total utility? If there is zero consumption, zero utility. Right? Start from zero, right? And at the first unit, we get the level of satisfaction of 60 in measure in utility and 100 increasing, right? Total utility increasing, right? That's why when you consume products from 0, right? 1, 2, 3, right? That way, right? Total utility increase, right? But important thing is not the total utility, right? You need to think about the extra satisfaction that you get. So that explained by the marginal. how we calculate the marginal utility? Delta TU divided by delta Q, right? So delta TU, that means changing this, no, right? Divided by delta Q, no, right? Since the delta Q always 1, no, right? So we can take this difference, no, right, as the marginal. So the delta TU over delta Q, that is the marginal utility. So in other words, what is this marginal utility? So that is the slope of this total utility curve, no, right? To measure the slope of the total utility curve, that gives the marginal utility. That's why we earlier mentioned the slope of the curves are very important for this making, right? So in other words, if you differentiate this total utility function or total utility curve, right, you can obtain the marginal utility, right? First order differentiation, right? So that gives the slope of the curve, no? Right? So what is the slope of the total utility curve? Delta TU over delta Q, right? At the 0 units, there is no marginal. When you come to first unit, right, you can take the difference, no? 0 to 1. Here also we see 60, 40, 30 like that. You know, whatever, if you look at the marginal utility, it's also decreased. No? At a particular point, it comes to 0. No? Right? Right? So here we see, right? It's decreasing, no? Right? Comes to 0, then thereafter what happens? We measure the marginal utility. It becomes negative. No? Right? So at the 0 level, if you look at, this is the maximum point, no, right? The total utility is maximized, no, at this point. No? When there is 11 units, no, right? 10 and 11 is maximized, no, right? But it's really maximized at 11, no. Why? Because marginal utility is 0. Right? When the marginal utility is 0, total utility is maximized at 11, no, right? 1. So that is a very important point, no, right? So the marginal utility comes to 0, right? So that means the total utility is maximized. If you measure the slope of the curve, right, the total utility curve, right, the maximum level, that slope equals to 0, no, right? So then thereafter what happens? It becomes, after this maximum point, there is a declining tendency, right? Earlier total utility increasing. But it increase at a decreasing rate because marginality continues to decrease, no, right? Right. Then thereafter it becomes decrease, no, not 198, 200, not 200, maybe 195, 109, like that way, no, right? We consume, no, because we consume is fed up with consuming this one, no, right? Here, smooth Java like again here, we are. Right? Top level, right? Bulletin when happy game on, right? But that's not what happened. Vomiting, no, right? That is total utility also become negative. No? Negative means we look at the curve side, the marginality becomes negative, no? Right? Total utility also decrease, no? Right? So that is the BA, right? So normally he has to select this range, no, right? Okay. If you are consuming as a rational, we assume the rational consumer, no, right? If you are rational, you are not going to consume after 11, no, no, right? You reject, no, right? Because you want to maximize utility, no? Either you are bigger than one end, right? Here, right? And make up here, right? That applies anything, right? This good sensor is more, no, right? Yeah. Right. So now here in this range marginal utility is positive, no? This is positive, no? After this point it becomes negative, no? The positive region is the good region, no? Right? Yeah. Person has to select, no? Depending on income, right? So subject to constraint, no? Where he stops, no? Right? So normally this as a rational consumer, right? he has to consume in the positive region, no? Right? That depends on the price paid, no? Right? For this product, no? Right? And this income, right? Based on the income, right? And the negative region is not the preferred, no, not preferred, no, right? It's not rational, no, right? After 11, right? Okay. Right. Now, if you look at the graphical form, right now you see, right? Those, the schedule we can plot in the graph, right? Here we put the total utility, right? And the quantities that you consume, right? In the x-axis. So when you consume, when you increase the consumption, no, right? What happened? The total utility increase, no, right? Comes to the maximum point, 198, no, right? Then thereafter it tends to decrease, no, right? So this is the maximum point. If you draw a line here, the slope is 0. Okay? Slope is 0. Here, slope, if you draw the lines here, slope is not 0, right? Slope becomes positive, no, right? Slope is positive, no, right? Now, if you take the slope of this curve, it's increasing at a decreasing rate, right? If you draw the lines from origin to this curve, right? And see the slope. You draw the lines from origin to this curve and see the slope. What happened? 4. Continuously decrease, no? Right? So that's why the marginal utility decrease, no? Right? At the maximum point, slope is 0, that means marginal utility is 0, no? Right? Here the slope, what happened? It's decrease, no? Right? Negative, no? Right? So in other words, now I will write it, right? So it's negative, right? So that means marginal utility is negative, no? Right? From 0, below 0, right? So this is the positive region, right? Marginal utility is 0, so greater than 0, right? And the other case, marginal utility is less than 0, negative, right? And at this point, when the total utility is maximized, marginal utility comes to 0, right? Okay. Yes, let me say. That means if I explain that, now you know this one, right? Marginal utility, right? Now the total utility, this is the TUX. This point is maximized. Now here the if you take this is total utility, Q marginal, right? Here DTU over DQ. In other words, delta TU over delta Q. So that is the slope, right? So that is positive, right? Here, if you differentiate, DTO means differentiate, right? DTO, DQ, right? So this is delta T. We take the change, delta T over delta Q. So that is positive, right? At here, delta TU over delta Q equals to 0. Delta TU over delta Q less than 0, right? That's why negative, right? Marginal utility, right? Here marginal utility positive. Here the marginal utility negative. Right? At this point, marginal utility equals to 0, right? So this is the slope of the curve, right? Marginal utility gives the slope of the curve, right? Slope of the curve, right? So slope measures how it is changed, right? This is the one, right? So this change and this change, right? So that is the slope, no, right? So the curve, right? So we take the delta TU. This one is the delta Q. Right? This is delta TU, delta Q. That is the slope, no, right? So if you, in other words, in mathematical, we take the differentiation, right? Delta TU over delta Q, right? This positive, that means marginal utility is positive in this region. At the maximum point, normally, marginal utility, that slope is 0, right? Maximum. So it's a marginal utility, right? Then thereafter it becomes negative. Total utility decrease means it becomes negative. That means if you take the slope, the marginal utility is negative, right? So that is the short term, right? This is short term. No? You allow the consumer to consume, what happens, right? Total utility, you can analyze the total utility, and behind the total utility, you can analyze the behavior by looking at the marginal utility. Right? Now the consumer has to select this choice should be the area where he can gain positive marginal utility, no? Right? He has to consume somewhere the positive region, right? As a rational consumer, if he or she tries to maximize his or her utility, no? Right? Right. Okay, right. Right. Is it clear? Do you have any question? Okay, right. So what is the point right here? So what is the equilibrium? Equilibrium point is the marginal utility equal price. So that is the equilibrium point, right? The equilibrium, right? So he has to compare the marginal utility A, right? By consuming product, right? And the price A, right? We are not willing to buy, no, right? We are not willing to consume that product, right? We are not gaining the equal satisfaction, right? So that actually we are not compare the total utility with the price, we compare marginal utility with the price. So the equilibrium condition to select until you decide to consume the product, right? Until the marginal utility equal price, no, right? So that means you consume if you can get a sufficient satisfaction, no, right? දැන් අපි ගෙවන මුදලට සල්ලන උපයෝගිතාවයක් නේ ඉදිරි එකක් තියෙනවා. How much you pay and you get some sort of satisfaction. ඒක නැති හින්දානේ ඔය ladies of our shopping කියනවා. ගන්න දෙන්නේ right? Price එකක් එක්ක කවුදා යනවා නෙවෙයි. Fine. If the marginal utility is higher than the price, what is the option? Definitely buy, no, right? If it is less than price, you're not going to buy. The trade-off point is you buy until the marginal utility for price. So this is the equilibrium. Okay. Right now we have the earlier the case, right? Now you can think about the monetary relationship and the prices, right? The price. No, we have to think about the price and to pay the product. Right? Now here the price. If we say the price is 20, right? So we have to think about price is 20, right? So the price equals marginality at this point, no, right? The price is 20, right? Price equal marginality at the unit 4, right? So what he once he select that point, right? So this all other points, other things are the benefit passed to you, right? Right. Okay, right now we can see, right? Consumer surplus, no? There is a surplus. Now willing to pay 20 rupees, no? Right? And he consume 4 units, right? All other things, right? The satisfaction you can calculate it, right? So 40, 30, 30, 20, no? Right? 40, 60, 40, 20, no? Right? So there is a satisfaction, right? 150 is the consumer surplus, no? Right? Consumer surplus, right? Because he is paying equilibrium point is the 4, right? Price of the product is 20, right? He pays 80, right? So the benefit, real benefit was to the consumer is the 7, you know, right? I pay such amount, right? So that is the consumer surplus, right? Okay. So here according to the utility theory, right? Consumer decides to buy the product until marginal utility equals. So we need a break now. Okay, right. So then we have to now utility theory. One is the marginal utility, right? Principles of marginal ordinary utility, right? Because this is really right. No? In the methodology, right? Since they are yes. Okay, right. We will discuss this one after the break. Any questions? Okay. Now we are talking about this utility, right? So we can think about this demand analysis, right? Behavior, right? Now we are going to support our argument, right? Based on the theoretical things, right? They basically we talk about two things: marginal utility and equimarginal utility. Right? Diminishing marginal utility and low equimarginal utility, right? Another concept, right? Okay. So that we can discuss after the break, right? Okay, enjoy your break. Your assignment. Okay, now you are working on your individual assignment. That will be easy.
psychology facts about best friends. One, if friendship lasts longer than 6 years, psychologists say it will last a lifetime. Two, friendship is not about who you spend the most time with. It's about who you have the best time with. Three, a strong friendship doesn't need daily conversation. It doesn't always need togetherness. Even friends could go days, weeks, or even months without speaking, and pick up exactly where they left off, as if no time has passed at all. Four, only a true friend will tell you to your face what others were saying behind your back. Five, best friends are people who make your problems their problems, just so you don't have to go through them alone. Send this to your best friend and follow us for more.
Okay, shall we start? Right, now we are talking about this liquidity trade. Now you can see there is a underlying two principles here typing as we discussed earlier. Can you hear me, the online participants? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions to ask regarding our previous discussions? Any questions? Okay, seems no questions, right? Okay, right now in the utility theory, this now we are explaining the consumer behavior, right? As you mentioned now, in order to explain the consumer behavior, we incorporate two approaches here, right? One is the utility theory and the other one is the indifference analysis, right? Now, utility theory based on the two principles we applied here, as we discussed previously, one thing is the marginal, diminishing marginal utility, right? There we identified the basic condition is marginal utility should be equal to price, right? So that is a equilibrium point. So that is a consider equilibrium point based on the what we call this utility theory, reducing marginal utility. Now the second important concept that we can identify here, the equimarginal units. Right? So that is the second principle. Another principle we apply here, that equimarginal utility principle, right? So now here we are going to talk about the how the now earlier case we talk about only one product. No? We allow the consumer to consume particular product continuously, right? And we see the volatility and the change of the marginal utility, and based on that we try to explain the equilibrium part, right? Now here, because now we are going to explain the equilibrium, right? All the time. We know that in economics we are talking about it, right? In the area that talk about the equilibrium, even in the microeconomics or the macroeconomics, we talk about their macroeconomic equilibrium. So that is the underlying concept that we explain. Right. Now here according to this law of equimarginal utility, right? Instead of one product, now here we take the two products. So because one product is on the rational, right? Not practical, right? To explain the consumer, right? So therefore, adding one more product, right? Here we talk about the product A and the product B, two products. And we see how the consumer allocates his limited income in order to maximize his utility, right? Taking the two product, right? So actually, we consider the marginal utilities, right? And the prices, respective prices. This analysis, right? So you know the marginal utility, right? Get the extra satisfaction, no? That's to get by considering the extra unit. That is that explains marginal principle, marginal utility. And we compare with the price. We take the marginal utilities and they are the respective price ratio between the marginal utility and the price. And at the equilibrium point, we take consider the two products and those ratios should come to the equality. So that explains the law of fixed marginal utility. Marginal utility of A divided by the price of A. Right? Product. A and B are the two products that we consider, right? At the equilibrium point, the ratio between the marginal utility and the price should be equal for the two products. If we have the n number of products, right? So if we take a number of products, all the ratios should come to the equilibrium, should be equal, right, at the equilibrium. So that is the basic idea of the equimarginal unit, right? So we take into account the income. Here the consumer income, right, he has a given level of income, right? So that is the constraint here, right? He has to allocate this income for these two products, right, based on their price. Right? At the equilibrium point, we assume he spent his whole income for the two products and come to the maximum satisfaction. So we need to find out the equilibrium point. So we have given the fixed level of income. Because we assume this income is distributed among the two products, right? So how we how we assess the income distribution in the two products, the respective products, prices, and the quantities that he is willing to consume at the equilibrium point. Right? So that means the price of product A multiplied by the quantity that he is willing to buy, right? From the product A, right? PA and the QA, right? Price of the product A is the PA. Quantity that he is willing to buy from the product A at the maximization is the QA, right? PA into QA. That is his income allocation for the consumption of product. And this income allocation for the consumption of product B is the PB into QB. If you get together, right, PA QB and the PB QB, that should be equal to the whole income. So that means BA QA plus PB QB should be equal to the income. So that is the second condition. And the other one is respective marginal utility should be equal to the price. Okay, ratios, right, should be equal to the price. So those are the two conditions under this principle, right? So according to this law of equimarginal utility principles, in order to satisfy, in order to maximize the utility, consumer's point of view, or in other words, when the consumer comes to the equilibrium points, so there are two conditions should be satisfied. One is the marginal utility of the price ratios between the two products comes to should equal, and his whole income will be allocated for the product that we consume, right? And he comes to the maximum. If these two conditions are satisfied, so we can explain the consumer equilibrium under this point, right? So it's P marginal utility, right? States that the consumer will distribute his money income between the goods in such a way that the utility derived from the last rupee is spent on each goods in equal. Right? Now the utility derived from last rupee for the product A is given by the ratio between the marginal utility over PA. Utility that he gained, the extra utility that he derived from the last rupee of the product B explained marginal utility P over PB. Right? That should be equals, right? And also his income he allocates between the two products such a manner to maximize the GDP. So those incomes should be distributed fully, right, among the two products that we consider, right? Okay. Right. Now you have given a small example, right? Yeah. Right. So now we know the conditions. So, the marginal utilities, right? Last rupee is spent on the two products to be equal, and the consumer, as a rational consumer, he allocates his whole income among the two products. Right? So satisfying those two conditions, right? So we can assess the equilibrium point, consuming. Now suppose you have given the we consume 1, 2, 3, 4 like that with the consumption. Okay. And then we have the two goods, product A and the product B, right? And you have given the what are these? These are the total utilities, no? Right? These are the total utilities, as we mentioned earlier, right? Total utility with the consumed product A, these are the total utilities that we get. This is the total utility from B, right? And you can assume price of the product A is 1 rupee or $1. Price of the product B is $2, 2 rupees, right? So based on the condition that we highlighted, right, you need to find out the equilibrium point. Can you do it quickly? So in order to find out the answer, right, you need to go with the conditions, no, right? First condition is you need to find out the marginal utility and the price ratio. Marginal utility of A, we know the price of the product A, right? And the marginal utility of B and the price of the product B we know, right? You need to calculate the marginal utility of A. MUA means marginal utility of MUB means marginal utility of B at each point. Then you need to calculate the ratios, no, right? MU over PA, MUB over B. So you can fill the same. So one thing is missing here, no? What is that? What is the missing one here? So in order to come to the equilibrium, you need to know about one thing. What is it? You have to know one thing, otherwise you cannot calculate. Right? Income you should know, right? This is the income. So you can assume the income is $10 for 10 rupees, right? Consumer income is 10 rupees, right? So what are the margin utility of A? Now since the units are changing, the difference is 1 all the time, no? Delta Q, units means there is Q, no, right? Demand, no? Right? Consumption units, right? So delta Q is 1, no, right? So we have given the total utilities TUA 10, 18, 20, 24, 25, no, right? Total utility of B 24, 44, 62, 78, 9. Right? Marginality of A, how much is the marginality of A? Marginality, I will calculate delta T mu, delta T A divided by delta Q, no? Right? Or units, no? Right? So that means the difference 0 to 1. Here, if we take the difference, ten, no? Right? 10. Am I correct? 10. Here 10, no? Here 8. Okay. And you I will write here, right? Class. 1, 2, 3, 4. 10, 8, 10. Ten, 8, 4, ne? 10, 8, 4, 10. Two, 1, ne? Right? 10, 8, 4, 2, right? Right? Marginality of B, twenty, 20, then 20, then that is 62 minus 44, no? 18. 18, then 12. Twenty, 18, 16, yeah, right? Then 12, right? Then you can calculate the ratios, MUA over PA, MUB over PB. The ratios, calling our first condition, right? MUA over PA, marginality and the price ratio. MUA over PA. MUA over PB, right? So you get, you know, the price of the product A is 1 rupee, price of the product B is, right? The respective marginality you can divide by the price. 1 rupee means as same, no, you get same answer because price of A is 20, 18. You can do it yourself, right? Then the price of B is 2 rupees divided by 2. 10, 9, 8, 6, right? Don't see this one, my one is not right. You can apply the condition. Now we mentioned the two conditions. One is the marginality price ratio should be equal, right, between the products. That means MUA over PA into A marginality of A divided by the PA. No, this one. This. can calculate, you know the price. Price of A means 1, price of B means 2. You can divide the respective marginality from the price. Right? Then you need to see, right, where the equal points are gained. Is it correct? Then the answer is correct. Now the new way of the other correct equals we cannot see, no? Equals here. That is the problem. Is it correct? This margin is EB. There's mistake. What is the mistake? Now, and here the 1, 2, 3, 4 points, right? Can we calculate this at the first slide? So we take the these numbers are correct. Make a mistake. And this is I made a mistake. Did you check that? And it's a page 10, 1. That's correct. So again, we take here, right? Now the price of A is 1 rupee, right? So we can marginality of the MUA of B, how much? 10A 42, right? Not 20. You don't answer, no? Then the MUA of BB means 10986, no? Right? Okay. Then you can identify the conditions, the key conditions, right? Between the MUA and the PE ratios. At which point now 8 and 8 is there, no? Right? Those are the equal points, no? Right? You get 8 and 8, no? Right? Now here you get how much here? 10, 8, 4, 2, no? Right? Okay. 10, 8, 4, 2. Right? Here we get 10, 9, 8, 6, right? So we can take the equal points, 8 and 8 are equal, no? So the combinations, 8 and 8 means one combination, only one combination is there, no? Right? 8 means from the price of product A, 2 units we consume, right? And the other product Y we consume 3, no? Right? So then you have writing the second condition. What is the second condition? What is the second condition? Second condition is income. You have to distribute your whole income among the two products. You can see whether it's match with the second condition. Now the income is 10 rupees, we assume, no? Right? So the price of the product A is 1 rupee, 2 into 1 means 2. The product B is 2 rupees, 6, no? Right? Holding the that become 8. That is not matching, right? So you have to skip the first one, I think, right? At the first unit, you cannot calculate the marginal utilities, right? And from the second line numbers, you need to put the numbers. We take and actually get the combinations A and B. So that we you get the answer there. You can check the confusion and satisfied. Okay. Yeah. You leave the first line. Take the combination equals to how? Another combination.
Excuse me, sir. We can't visible online board, smart board.
Yes.
We cannot see anything.
Yeah. Now we have to fill the table. Right? I just actually I have this whole confusion regarding this the running. We will do it again. You could ask. Okay, you got the calculation? Okay, right? So now next, now we have the the quantities, right? 1, 2, 3. So MUA. MUA. MUA over PA. MUV over PB, right? So the MUA, what are the MUAs? First line we leave, right? Second line 8, 4, 2, 1, right? So MUB means marginality of B, right? 20, 18, 16, 12, right? So then you can calculate the respective, now these are our conditions, right? MUA over PA. First condition is MUA of PA should be equals to MUB over PD. So if you have the n number of products, we need to calculate separately, right? That's really complicated, no? Right? So actually we take the two products, right? And the other one is, this is the first condition. Second condition, PA into QA. That is the allocation for the product A should plus the allocation for the product B, PB over into QB should equals to I. I is the income, right? So I is the income, right? So the provision for the product A, provision for the product B should be equals to total income. That means this consumer fully allocate his income for the two products that we consider at the equilibrium. So if these two conditions are satisfied, that we can call it as equilibrium point, right? Now, based on the given information, now we need to calculate we have the confusion regarding the first line, right? I thought it's 0 to 1, assuming that one I thought, right? But at the 0 point, now first unit, it says based on the information, right? Since we are taking the marginal utilities, right? We have to take the difference, right? First unit we cannot take, right? You cannot calculate the marginal utilities, right? Here the MUA PA is price of the A is 1, right? So same answer 2, 1. So the MUA PB means price of the B is 2, 10, 10, 9, 8, 6, no, right? So now we calculate the, based on the first condition, what is the combination? We have only one combination, no, right? This is the combination, no, right? Based on the combination, first, no, right? So that means A and B. A, how much the quantity is 2. B, 4, no? So that actually, if you have the other combination, you need to take it into account, right? Let's say if you have another combination, right? Equal combination, you need to take it into account and compare with the second condition, whether it's satisfied. Now, it's luckily we got only one combination here, right? So whether then you can check with the second condition, right? Now, first condition is okay, right? So you can check with the second condition. If we assume our income level is I told you 10, no, right? 10 rupees, right? 4 into 2 means 8, 1 into 2 means 2, right? So that equals to 10 rupees, no, right? So that means his whole income he allocate for the two products, no, right? And we come to the maximum satisfaction. So at the equilibrium point, the consumer consume 2 units from product A, 4 units from product B, no, right? Right? So that is the equilibrium point, right? So we need to check these two conditions, no, right? Okay. So that is the basic behind the equimarginal principle, right? So equimarginal, right? Now, suppose you have given the equation, no, right? Instead of this is the table, no? This is the schedule, no, right? So instead of this, if you have given equations, right? Even if you have given now at this level, we cannot give you the total utility equation, right? We have given total utility equation, you need to calculate the marginal utility, right? So then actually we have to use the differentiation, right? At this level, we are not going to do that way, right? But if you have directly given the marginal utility curves, right? And the prices, right? By solving those two equations, you must be able to calculate the utility. Okay. Suppose you have your utility function, the products, right? Separate the prices, no? Right? Apply these conditions, we will be able to find out the equilibrium condition, right? Same way, right? So remember these two conditions must be there, right? Under the equivalent. Now this is the constraint function, no? Right? Now we can identify the objective function is this, no? This is the constraint function. This is called objective function. First one is called objective because we are trying to maximize our utilities, no? Right? Because consumer, as a rational consumer, you always try to maximize utility. No? Right? So utility maximizing condition is this, no? Right? Subjective to the constraint. Constraint is the income. No? So he has to allocate based on his choice at the given price level. He has to decide which quantities consumed, right? In order to maximize it, right? So this is the constraint function. This is the objective function, right? So this is the objective function. Right? This is the constraint function. I think there is something problem with writing. Right? This is the constraint function. Okay. Right. Now you can think about I am uploading certain tutorial. Did you see I upload first tutorial? And suppose you see the tutorials. Are you not others? Are you not referring to the LMS? So I am uploading the tutorials, right? You have to do the tutorials. Okay. Some questions, right? Now I only upload one tutorial for this initial discussion at the very first, right? If you have any concern, like message, you can directly contact me, right? Don't send the message, I cannot write the best answers there, right? So in the WhatsApp, right? If you have any problem, you can communicate with me, right? For answering these questions. If you have any doubt or clarification, right? Please contact me, right? If I am not in a position to answer that time, right? I will call you later, right? The free time you can ask me, right? So just send me the message. I have a question related to this tutorial like that. Then I will communicate with you, right? Later on, if I am not in a position to answer the question at that time, right? So I will upload this tutorial, each section that I covered, right? So we need to do those tutorials. You can we have the books forms, right? Different books are there, right? You can discuss it with these books as well and these as well, right? If you have any question, you can raise it on. Okay. Now I will different questions I will upload, right? We have more time to discuss all of these things and the later time, right? Okay. Right. So that is the marginal concept, right? Remember the condition C, right? Okay, right? Okay, right. Next, we are moving to indifference curve analysis, right? Do we have time? Oh, good. Okay, just I give the introduction, right? So indifference curve now earlier in the very first form, right? utility, we identify one product and we see which is here. Equilibrium point, we identify as the marginal, which is the price. And second case in the utility, we identify this equimarginal utility, right? There we identify certain two conditions. There we take into account two products, right? But if we have the more than two products, there we cannot do that quickly. It's very complicated to calculate these equal points and so on, and sum and so on. Yeah. Number of products, consumer consume different products, right? That's also not rational, right? So therefore, instead of avoiding such situation, right? Now we are moving to the other development, right? That is the indifference curve analysis. Actually, as we mentioned, this one is based on the ordinal utility curves. We are not going to measure the utilities, but we are going to identify the different level of satisfaction. You are indifferent, right? Not based on your preference, right? The level of satisfaction that you are making. Instead of measuring, we are going to rank the utility and indifference can, right? So basically, measurability to avoid the measurability, right? So we actually totally avoid the measurability of the utility here, right? And this is introduced by the JRBs, right? So by being at the consumer area, right? Based on the ordinal curves, right? So now since we know that the different preferences are there, right? Consumer has, right? We instead of to show these preferences, right? Here we use the bundle of goods, right? Even though here the yes, two aspects we are concerning, right? Two axes, right? But those two axes we take the bundle of goods. Bundle means there are number of goods can be contained, right? Bundle A, bundle B, right? And we look at the satisfaction, right? So that represents number of goods, right? So indifference curve, it's explain the satisfaction, right? So consumer gain by consuming bundle of goods, right? So at the equilibrium point, right? Actually equal, right? So different bundle of goods, right? So what the feature is, each of these points consumer get the same level of satisfaction. Along the we get the same level of satisfaction, and indifference curves are normally downward sloping from left to right, right? So that actually curve shape, right? So negatively sloped. So normally it's convex to the origin, right? Convex to the origin. And the slope of the indifference curve, right? Now we have the two products, two bundles. Slope means marginal. Actually, we can substitute instead of one product, another product. If we are moving to the from one axis, other axis, he has to sacrifice. Right? This is the downward sloping curve. Right? Negative slope means, right? This is the consumption of one would mean he has sacrificed on consumption. Right? So that slope we identified as the marginal rate of substitution. How the consumer substitutes products instead of product. So that is called marginal rate of substitution, right? Since the marginal rate of substitution also decrease, right? This actually a negative slope, right? And diminish, right? So because if you are increasing the consumption of one product, you have to decrease the consumption of product. Right? So given by MRS means marginal rate of substitution, right? So that is the how the consumer can substitute the goods instead of other product that we use, right? Okay, but even though there is a substitution, what happens? We keep the same level of satisfaction. Right. So those are the basic things, right? The difference, right? We look at that other things, right? Or we can explain the equilibrium based on this concept. Right? So please refer some messages next day when you are coming, right? Regarding the indifference here, right? Without taking much time, we will finish that one. And we have, I think, one more lecture in postpone much time. The lecture are postponed, and so we need to go into the time schedule given to we need to take additional lecture for that. Immediately, some person they are coming to so we need to take those time also, right? Sessions. And to avoid those sessions, we have 4 sessions to with that, right? We need to finish the things, right? We have the macroeconomics part also because there is a little bit discussion, deeper discussion, I know, right? Regarding this macroeconomic activity. Right? So with that, this can take with that extra time. And we can finish it. Now, I hope that you are working on your individual assignment, right? So once we finish this microeconomic part, theory of the cost and the revenue producers aspect, right? We will go to the test, right? Okay. Right? So that test is based on to the theory of the firm. There will be 1 hour test for it, right? 9. We do this, right? There is so there is MCQ test, right? That's planned for from the first of the Q until the day of the month. But first section, first part of this our time, right? So please ready for that, right? And meantime, you can complete your assignment. And there is one more discussion I will give you, right, based on the macroeconomic discussion, right? You can make picture answers that, right? With that, we will continue the finish to the assessment part, right? Then you can find the system. Right? Okay. Maybe next. Right. So next day I hopefully meet you, right? Please come a bit early, right? Okay, thank you very much.